Is unconditional happiness actually possible? That's what I want to explore in this video, because I think it's an important question. Because when you approach your spiritual practice with any hope of achieving unconditional happiness all the time, then I think you will be disappointed. And there are two aspects to this question. Because one aspect has to do with our very real physical existence as the embodiment in our human form. Like we are experientially bound to this human body. And from that perspective, it will always be the case that there will be suffering on the level of experience, on the level of the physical existence. What I mean by that is, for example, in our psyche, in our nervous system, it's a perfectly healthy and normal response to make us suffer, to feel certain pains, because they actually help us to survive. How would your nervous system otherwise actually tell you to avoid certain situations, to avoid certain circumstances, and to improve them? For example, if you feel very cold, you have to suffer in order to be pushed to relieve that pain. And so this is actually a good form of suffering, which we will never be able to fully avoid. It won't be possible. You will suffer because of physical pain, you will suffer because of emotional pains, of pains through relationships. So these are all emotional states that your nervous system generates in order to push you to do something or to not do other things. And so this is one level of suffering on that area where it's not possible to have like unconditional freedom from pain and unconditional happiness. But on one level, unconditional happiness is truly possible, because while we are experiencing all of this, we don't actually have to suffer in the sense of real suffering that we take to heart, that we take to our hearts. Because happiness can be experienced while you are physically or mentally suffering. It sounds very strange, but once you develop a very clear understanding of how you can stay in the present moment, of how you are able to meditate all of the time, to be present wherever you are, in every situation, actually pain loses its power over you, so to speak. It loses its sting. It loses the quality that actually makes you suffer. While it may still feel the same, while even emotional troubles will still kind of feel the same, when you are very present and have developed your capacity to experience everything without any resistance, I can tell you it's possible to relieve the suffering, to remove the part that was actually making you suffer before from the experience, which can make certain experiences that you beforehand thought were very bad and made you suffer, can make them kind of a very interesting, enjoyable experience, as strange as it may sound. Because you are such a superconductor to your experience that it flows right through you. The pain only comes from your resistance to whatever you are experiencing. And this is a capacity that is not easy to develop. In many situations, you will forget to be completely present. It will overwhelm you. You will fall into old habits of resisting the pain, of rejecting it. And this will make you suffer. But with practice, over time, you develop your capacity to, in ever more challenging situations, keep your presence, keep your awareness so focused on the very present moment that you are not getting lost in the idea that you have to somehow resist what you are experiencing right now. And from that point of view, yes, unconditional happiness can be possible, but it will probably differ a lot from what you think it should be like on the outset of your journey. Unconditional happiness has conditions. It has the condition of you being completely open, completely free of any resistance to what you're experiencing in your life. May it be relationship problems, physical ailments, maybe your work makes you suffer, other people force you to do things, whether it's like you have to do certain things for money, you dislike your job, or whatever it is. The suffering comes from your resistance to it, to whatever you're experiencing. I know when you hear this, it sounds so meaningless, like, yeah, okay, why should the suffering be removed if I just experiencing it? I'm experiencing it all the time anyways. And what I'm saying here is, no, you are not experiencing your suffering. You are resisting your suffering. You are resisting whatever you think makes you suffer. But the suffering lies in that resistance, and that you can remove.